And welcome to coverage of Grand Prix Minneapolis. Marshall Sutcliffe in the booth with Jacob Van Lunen. We are underway in round 14. Sean McLaren, number 19 on our top 25 pro rankings, against Lewis Kaplan. Both players seated at 12-1. We're looking at a winning in here, Jake.
Yeah, whoever wins this match will find themselves in the elimination rounds here at Grand Prix Minneapolis. So Sean McLaren's able to do that. That's a pretty unbelievable feat, especially considering this is his first premier level event since the Pro Tour that he won just a few months ago.
And, you know, he does not have a lot of live Magic experience, you know, for his career. He's primarily a Magic Online player, has transitioned quite nicely, though. And with the win in the Pro Tour, you get Platinum for the next year. So he's going to be at all the Pro Tours next year as well. And we're going to be seeing a lot of Sean McLaren. All right, so Lewis Kaplan kicks things off with Casali Pride Mage here, off of Grove of the Burn Willows and Temple Garden. What are we looking at here? Zoo?
Interesting. Maybe a
maybe some pod, like Kiki Pod.
It could be a Kiki Pod deck. I don't know.
Yeah, we will find out. We know that Sean McLaren is on red, white, blue, but he's got a little bit of a twist to it.
Yeah, he's playing the Kiki Jiki Restoration Angel combo in his deck so that he can make it Infinite Angels and come over the top of basically anything with that combo. And it's pretty nice because both those cards are just good cards in his deck anyway. You know, Restoration Angel, powerful card as an instant when he wants to be passing the turn, leaving open counter magic. Can blink Snapcaster Mage to accrue some value. Kiki Jiki can blink something like Wall of Omens to draw extra cards. It can blink Snapcaster Mage to you know, just recast spells.
What about his mana? I mean, that card costs triple red. It has to have some type of adverse effect on his mana, right?
Well, he gets to play with Cascade Bluffs, and you know, Cascade Bluffs is a filter land, so it not only produces 2 blue mana to help him cast this Cryptic Command, but it also helps him produce 2 red mana to help him cast that Kiki Jiki. So, you know, it seems odd that you might have a Wrath effect with that costs double white, Kiki Jiki, which costs triple red, and Cryptic Command, which costs triple blue, all in the same deck.
He's also got colorless mana. He's got Tectonic Edge and Desolate Lighthouse. So I don't know. It feels like he's pushing it a little bit, but maybe it's not too bad. You can take a look. It looks like we have moved over into the Birthing Pod area here after we saw that Wall of Roots from Lewis Kaplan. Is that confirmed?
He is Kiki Pod, yes.
Kiki Pod. All right. We haven't seen that one, or at least I haven't seen it on camera yet.
Neither have I.
We've seen a lot of Birthing Pod. Some different variants of that have shown up here this weekend, too, including Melira Pod minus Melira. The combo is just sort of missing from that. Instead, it runs that Archangel of Thune and Spike Feeder combo.
Interesting. So, as opposed to running both, it's...
yes. Value Pod?
Value Pod?
Something like that.
Call it that.
But this one's a little bit older of a version of Pod, traditionally the Kiki Jiki combo. It can be a little faster. It plays blue, and that allows it to do some pretty cool shenanigans with usually with Phantasmal Image and Deceiver Exarch.
Yeah, Deceiver Exarch, when it enters the battlefield, it can actually untap the Birthing Pod, and that lets you get multiple Birthing Pod activations on the same turn. It's generally really good.
Yeah, it really is. Like you can set up fairly complex situations, but when you do get them, you can actually just go off that one turn, even though, like with the Melira Pod combo, that's not normally possible. So
what we just saw there is actually really good for Lewis Kaplan. So with Scavenging Ooze, as a 2/2 or as a 3/3, it's really susceptible to the majority removal that's in Sean McLaren's deck. But once you make it a 4/4, it's really Path to Exile or Bust.
Or Bust, yeah. So Electrolyze and Lightning Bolt being the main culprits there when it's at 2/2 and 3/3. But yeah.
And often Lightning Helix. So remember, Lewis doesn't know that Sean doesn't have Lightning Helix in his deck.
Right. Good point.
Yeah,
when you see red, white, blue, and especially Sean McLaren won the Pro Tour with traditional red, white, blue control. And there is the Path to Exile, though. You said Path to Exile or Bust for that 4/4, and Sean decided to walk the path here. Away it goes. That is going to help accelerate the mana a little bit here, though, of Lewis Kaplan. The question is, what can he do with it? generally speaking, the longer the game goes, it favors Sean, right?
Definitely. I mean, he's a deck with Sphinx's Revelation. Those who play a good amount of Standard know very well that if a game goes longer, the Sphinx's Revelation deck is going to have better odds. And that's not quite as true in a format like Modern, but it still remains pretty true. Here, though, it looks like Lewis has an opportunity to resolve. Okay, he's going to go ahead and Kitchen Finks. Yep.
Plays the Kitchen Finks, gains a couple of life back, has a little bit of a clock here, leaves up 2 mana untapped. But these Birthing Pod decks usually don't run much in the way of disruption, especially spell-based disruption, because they have to have so many creature slots. So Sean's got to feel like if he can assemble his combo, which it looks like he's closing in on, he actually has it in his hand right now.
Yeah, he's missing the 5th land necessary, but he's going to get to blink this Wall of Omens on Lewis's end step. And by blinking that Wall of Omens, it's going to let him draw an extra card. There's the untapped land. So
yeah, that's exactly what he needs. So does he just go for it here? Like, is there any reason why he doesn't just slam Kiki-Jiki and say, hey, do I win?
Well, I mean, there are a lot of different things that can happen.
Boom! Here, you explain those in a second, but for now, Sean McLaren's going to make 1 billion angels and attack Lewis Kaplan for 1 trillion. Louis scratches his head. He's like, well, that's a lot of damage.
And I don't think Lewis was expecting this either. I think throughout the weekend, Sean's been catching people off guard. He won a Pro Tour.
This is the look of somebody who just got caught very much off guard.
Exactly. I mean, he won a Pro Tour playing the same colors, but without this infinite combo in his deck. So people are passing the turn to him, being like, he's a control deck. This is
worst case scenario. He plays another angel or something.
Counter my spells, and that's
brutal.
all he's going to do. And then they pass the turn to him, and he just wins.
Yep. Here's Court of Calling, though, for Lewis Kaplan. So he does have a response. What does it do? It's for 3? Maybe he's just double-checking to make sure that there's nothing in his deck that he has forgotten about. There is not, and that's it. Sean McLaren blindsides Lewis Kaplan in Game 1, and Game 2 is going to be a lot different. I'm sure Sean has been getting free wins off that. It's really funny. I love the metagame call of I'm the PT champ with a deck in this format, so obviously I'm running that deck again, and then just crushing people with a total Sidewinder like that.
Yeah, because it's basically the same deck.
Yeah, everything looked the same.
Yeah. Like, what do you think you're going to play against something else? Like, obviously this guy is just playing the deck he won the PT with.
Right. Wow.
It's pretty awesome.
That's brutal.
Been pretty impressed by Sean McLaren this weekend.
Oh, yeah?
I mean, here he is. He just won a Pro Tour.
Yeah. It was funny.
He's not a live Magic player. I didn't really know who he was before a couple months ago, and now he's a Pro Tour champion, and here he is playing his next event, playing for top 8.
It's Arsenal Munch right there.
I know.
You probably played him on Magic Online.
I've played against him a bunch.
I have a question for you. I talked to Randy about this earlier, and I think that you, Randy, and I are pretty like-minded on this stuff. We're not really superstitious people. Try to be logical about when we play games and that kind of thing. But I got to say, and this is before Sean made this run, by the way. This is like earlier today or yesterday. I've seen it so many times in Magic and other games too, where somebody will win a tournament and then just follow it up with a strong finish closely after that. And I don't know if I'm just noticing it when they do it, and when they don't, I just don't notice it, or if it's actually like a confidence boost, or maybe, I mean, look, Sean's obviously really good at Modern. Maybe he's just a Modern specialist, and this is the next Modern tournament. Is there anything to that feeling that, like, when somebody wins, they tend to keep on winning?
What, to the running hot?
Yeah, to running hot, or, getting some edge that I can't explain after having won a tournament.
The heater? Are you asking me whether I believe in heaters?
No, because running hot and the heater is the same thing. I'm asking you if there's anything actually to this. Running hot and heater is not a real thing.
Yeah, but the confidence boost you get from winning an event is very real.
Okay, so that is real.
Yeah, I think that is real.
I mean, you won a Pro Tour. When you walked into like F&M the next weekend, we were like, ladies and gentlemen,
I think it made me play significantly worse.
Jacob Van Loonen. Oh, really? You're still head in the clouds about that one, or?
Yeah, I think I was overly confident. It's strange when you think you're better than you are. Mm-hmm. I think it doesn't serve you well.
No.
And I think I had a lot of success before I had a ton of knowledge in many ways.
Gotcha.
And I think that, we got very lucky in finding out how to kind of break that format wide open. And, we had a pick order and a strategy that was completely unexplored by anybody else. And it was obviously very good. I mean, it won us the Pro Tour. But winning that Pro Tour, I think, convinced both of us that we were on a level that we hadn't attained yet.
Gotcha.
And, over the next couple of years, I think we slowly realized where we actually were, and our skill level kind of increased over the
to
time
try to
as well,
meet up to
meet up with that expectation. And now, I don't think I'm nearly as good as I thought I was immediately after that, but I'm sure that I'm much better than I actually was.
Interesting. That's some good insight, Jake.
So
I appreciate that. We'll see we'll see what Sean thinks about it. I mean, he's more of a been at it on Magic Online for a while, and the kind of repetitions you can get when you play on Magic Online. You can really explore even the minute interactions and details of a deck, and that's what Sean's done with Red, White, Blue, and Modern. But I got to say, this twist
Sean
on it's
seems a
pretty
lot more
sweet.
mature than I did. Also,
No, he's Canadian.
That's true.
Yeah. Take a look at Sean McLaren here. Again, from Canada. He is now a Platinum Pro. For those who don't know, you actually get Platinum for winning the PT. You just, boom, you get Platinum. Like, there's no fussing around. You just get it. Randy, you got some updates for us?
Yeah, I've been tracking the metagame. It's the particularly interesting thing. The top 12 tables, which are the ones that are relevant for top 8, there are fully 4 pod mirrors.
Wow.
Amongst those tables, and 10 pod decks still in contention for this top 8. Nothing else has more than 3 copies. So you're wondering what the metagame is at the top tables? I mean, I feel like, 2 rounds to go, top 12 tables. Yeah, it's 10 pod decks, 3 Jund, 3 Twin, 3 Blue, White, Red. There's also, speaking of mirror matches, a Delver mirror.
Really?
I haven't seen Delver all weekend, but there's a Delver v. Delver mirror match where the winner is trying to get into a win-in.
Is one of them the Red-Blue Delver list with Young Pyromancer?
Probably. I mean, I just looked long enough to see Delvers on both sides of the table, and I was like, wow, I was not expecting the Delver mirror.
I got to say, I miss Delver. That makes me very happy to see it back. I love that card.
Yeah, the 24th deck, by the way, is a single copy of the Storm deck.
Okay.
But so far, Pod is definitely the deck that has had the best day, too.
Well, Junior Park still in contention also, right, with the Scape Shift deck? Okay.
Oh, one Scape Shift. My bad. Yeah, one Scape Shift. I just left it. I had it and left it off my list.
Okay. Thank you for that, Randy. So, yeah, that's interesting. Birthing Pod, asserting its dominance even further. When will the tyranny end? That is the question.
Not for a little while. New BNR announcement just happened.
BNR being?
Ban and restricted list?
Yeah, you should probably say that.
You're right. I should.
I mean, I knew what you meant, but there's somebody going like bed and breakfast, or what are we? It's B&B. All right, so sideboarding has happened. Again, we're viewing here what will be potentially a win-in game here for top 8. If Sean McLaren can close this thing out and pick this up, he's looking at top 8ing the GP after he won the Pro Tour. And, I said a few minutes ago that heaters weren't a real thing. What I meant was they're not predictable, but from a past tense perspective, they are. You can say like, well, I was definitely on a heater. You just can't say I'm going to continue to stay on the heater. So is this a mulligan here to 6 for Lewis? I believe it is.
He went down to 6. He has to keep this one lander with a bird.
God, that's risky. I mean, chances that bird lives, is that bird just quaking right now?
Yeah, I mean, he's really, really hoping that his opponent just doesn't play a bolt.
No
to kill
bolt.
that bird right away.
He could have Electrolyze, but that's not gonna. That's gonna be way too late, as that bird's gonna put in a lot of work by the time Electrolyze would happen.
And he doesn't have much of a choice about keeping his hand, because mulliganing to 5 when you're a birthing pod deck and you're against a deck that's just a pile of spot removal, it's not a good place to be.
Agreed.
I mean, you're gonna be hard pressed to win a match.
All right, so he does get to untap with Birds of Paradise, and he's gonna play Scavenging Ooze off of his so far no land drop, and he doesn't look like he's going to be hitting his land for the turn. So he really, really, really needed that bird to survive. Scavenging Ooze is an interesting one from Sean McLaren's perspective, because at this point it's just a 2-2. It's like not much going on in the graveyard. It's not really going to apply that much pressure. He is deep in the tank here, though. I'm not sure what he's thinking about. Does he have
Perhaps
spell
he has spell
snares?
snare?
He could.
Yeah. Definitely a possibility here. He does have a single copy of main deck spell snare in his deck.
He does. Okay. Well, it looks like he doesn't have it in his hand, or at least he doesn't want to use it, as he went and got a Sacred Foundry. And Scavenging Ooze gets to hang around. Yeah, being on the draw this game's pretty painful for Sean McLaren. He could have done quite a bit of work here. He's got a mana leak as well, but he's got to be happy to only be facing down a Scavenging Ooze here.
Yeah, some wise play here from Sean McLaren. You see how he did not play that Wall of Moments on a second turn, despite having 2 copies of it. Knew that, Voice of Resurgence is so powerful against him that he really, really needs to hedge himself against this. His opponent's missing land drops left and right. If he can keep a card like Voice of Resurgence off the table, then this game's going to be easy to win.
That's right. Now, it looks like he's going to be able to mana leak the Voice here, put it in the graveyard. If there's no land drop, though, for Lewis, that Scavenging Ooze is going to be in Electrolyze range in case that's a card that Sean has in his hand, though it's got to be tempting to hit that bird with the Electrolyze if he has it too, right?
Definitely.
This is going to get interesting here. I'm assuming that he's going to mana leak the Voice of Resurgence, and then what he does on his turn is a big deal. Also, Sean's got Wrath of God. I don't know if he has it in his hand, but he has it in his board, and I mean that's something that he could plan around as well. All right, he has multiple Electrolyzes. This gets very interesting. So, Desolate Lighthouse, and here comes something. I think it's Electrolyze. And he is actually going to be patient here and make sure to keep that Ooze, because if he doesn't, if he kills the bird and his opponent draws a green source, he can make his Ooze a 4/4, and that's a pretty big problem. All right, there's a Birthing Pod right on time, though, as Sean McLaren's tapped out and has more burn for that bird. He is still going to want to use it here, though.
Yeah, imagine we're just going to see another Electrolyze.
Yeah, I think so, too. One to the bird, one to you. Sean says sharing is caring, and he draws Wrath of God.
It's a nice draw step for Sean there.
Yeah.
Bit of insurance here.
Now, the big pain would be like a Kitchen Finks here, but he doesn't have it. He does draw a land with Breeding Pool, but has nothing to cast and just has to pass it back. Brutal. I think he's got 2 Court of Callings and Linvala in his hand.
Yeah, neither of those chords are castable at this point.
Just kind of a miserable hand at this point.
Joseph Zagrello.
Convoke?
Joseph Zagrello.
Is it tapping creatures only, right? Okay. So we can't.
Legacy Planeswalkers players. Pairings are being posted for round 3.
All right, wall.
Walling up.
And hitting his land drops and passing the turn. So Sean's open once again to something being resolved here, but unfortunately for Lewis, he just cannot find anything good to play. He just drew another land. He can play Linvala this turn.
Yeah,
Randy, what's going on
Linvala
on the top tables?
Good news for Luis Scott Vargas fans. He was in one of those pod mirrors, but Orzhov Pontiff just destroyed Ryan Saban in both Game 1 and Game 2. Game 2, he iced it with the second copy of Linvala after the first one died to Path of Exile.
Ooh.
2 copies of Linvala. That's the tech, apparently, in a world full of pod.
All right. So, again, Lewis is going to be able to play a Linvala here.
Speaking of Linvala.
Yeah, it's just... It does some things in this matchup. It doesn't do a ton right here. I think that Sean actually has a Restoration Angel in his hand anyway.
Yeah, I mean, well, the big part about Linvala in this matchup is it turns off Sean's combo.
Yeah, Kiki
So
Jiki.
Sean can't Kiki Jiki and chain that. Not that that's necessarily that important for Sean. I mean, Sean can just, attack with Restoration Angel. He can win in a whole myriad of ways, but... It's interesting to see whether or not Sean's going to, try to get that Linvala off the table, or I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if we just saw something like a Path Exile even.
Yeah. All right, Sean's got his land for the turn here. And surveying the scene. By the way, I decided that you're the one that has to tell Randy that it's path to exile and not path of exile.
Oh,
It's been driving me all day. Just been driving me absolutely wild. I haven't found the right time to tell him, but I decided you have to now. All right,
That's
so
all
here
right,
is
I'll do
path
it.
to exile for Linvala.
Path to Exile is one of my favorite cards ever.
It's like best removal in the format, right?
Yeah. Playing Path to Exile with Knight of the White Orchid is one of my favorite things to do in the world.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I remember that. All right, so we're going to see a Convoke here, though, to get a 1-drop, 1, 2, 3, 2-drop.
And see, Sean McLaren choosing to use that path during Lewis' upkeep. He did that so that the land would go into play tapped.
Look at this.
But in doing so, he gave Lewis the option to get this Court of Calling, and now he gets to get a Spellskite, and then he can retarget the path of the Spellskite.
Whoops. That's an issue, right? I mean,
yeah.
And he's still going to get the land for it, too?
Mm-hmm.
That's a sweet little play. I mean, the reality is that Sean still has, like, Wrath of God in his hand and multiple Restoration Angels that he can use however he wants. Also, he's got a Celestial Colonnade that he can sit back. So he's not going to die from Linvala killing him, and if he wants to get rid of Linvala, he can. But would have been nice just to use one card, get rid of Linvala, and call it good. And here's a Restoration Angel on end step, target Wall of Omens, and he's just going to start chaining these together. I have been really, really impressed by Wall of Omens in Sean McLaren's list. Card seems a little underrated, perhaps, in Modern at the moment. And boom, hit you for 7 and bolt you for 1, and that's the game and the match. Sean McLaren has won, and basically is a lock for top. Lock's probably a strong word, but he's looking very, very, very good for top 8 here in Minnesota.
He's just about a lock.
He's just about. I mean, it's always like he's going to play somebody else, and I never know. Like,
I guess like there could be like a tornado.
I just don't want to be the guy that says that. Have his friends go yes, and then he doesn't make it somehow. I don't want to be on the bad end of that. But things look great. Let's take a look at our upcoming webcast schedule as we shuffle around some people in our feature match area. We've got the big one, Pro Tour Journey to next weekend. That is coming to you from Atlanta, May 16th through 18th. That's Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Theros block constructed, and of course limited as well, booster draft. The weekend after that, we've got Grand Prix Atlanta. That one's Theros limited. Moving on to the next weekend after that, back on the other side of the pond, we've got Grand Prix Manchester. Also, a couple weeks after that, Grand Prix Moscow, which is really cool. Same week, one weekend before GP Chicago. Both of those are standard. So for standard fans out there, you're going to get back-to-back weekends of standard GPs. And GP DC and Milan are on the same weekend, June 28th and 29th, both of them limited. Those are going to be fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of stuff coming up in the
coming
next
up.
few months. Yeah, so it's going to be really, really good. If you enjoy watching Magic the Gathering, we invite you to join us on most of the following weekends.
Do you want me to have them wait for a second while we get set up, or should I have them start?
All right, so we're going to be moving some players around in our feature match area, and
Will do.
you know, we work hard here to try to bring you as much actual Magic the Gathering as possible. The nature of Magic tournaments means that there's some downtime in between, as you are well aware as a viewer of the show. But we try. We've got four feature matches, or 4 matches in the feature match area, and we try to move them over if there's going to be a game 3. That way, we can bring you more actual matches.
On the left here, this is the Orange Assassin, or the Citrus Assassin?
Citrus Assassin.
Nice.
Mr. Orange, for sure.
I like that his sleeves are orange.
And his shirt
is orange.
Yeah, it looks a little
and
red
his
on the
last
stream,
name
but
is
it's red.
orange.
Yeah. Yeah, I was saying that a little while ago, but I met him on the airplane on the way to Barcelona, just randomly.
Yeah, he was with his dad, apparently,
yep,
right?
Yep, he was.
Going his first PT?
Yep. Really nice guy. He is playing blue-white red control. I don't think he has any shenanigans as far as win conditions go. I think he does it the good old-fashioned way with bolts and Snapcaster Mages and Celestial Colonnades.
Yep, Snapcaster Mage is the only creature in Gregory's deck here.
No Vendilion Click? Come on, you got to Mize one Vendilion Click.
I really appreciate the orange theme going on. It's a Dutchman. It's yeah, it's very fitting.
Misty Rainforest. It's going to grab something. Looks like he hasn't quite decided exactly what that something is yet.
Ooh, he looks to be playing a Splinter Twin deck here. Is this a Tempo Twin strategy, or is he playing
Garfa Twin?
Gurf Twin? Is that what we're calling it?
No.
Is that the name of the deck? No?
Tarmo Twin is what we call
Okay.
it. Take a look at the list there, Jake, and we'll get an idea of what he's playing.
Yes, he is playing Tarmo Twin.
He called it Rug Twin. I like that name too.
Taylor Lynn Tarmo Twin. Easy to remember.
And he's got Serum Visions here, which is just sort of a value spell in this type of deck. All right, and Tarmogoyf is going to get spell snared right out of the skies here, so Gregory Orange, that's nice. Hitting a Goyf or a Snapcaster with your spell snare is pretty ideal.
I mean, that's, you know, when they first announced the card Spell Snare, Tarmogoyf sure was the intended.
Yeah. I mean, it hits other stuff, but when you hit a Goyf for a Snapcaster Mage, you're pretty darn happy.
Or I guess Tarmogoyf didn't exist yet when Spell Snare came out. Or block apart.
What's going on,
Close.
Randy, out on the top tables?
Well, Nathan Holliday wanted to show us what's even better than an active birthing pod. 2 active birthing pods.
Ooh.
So he took it was only game 1. It was a long one, but he took game 1 from Willie Edel. He's up a game, and we're actually going to move those guys onto your backup video match now.
Oh, thank you.
So you should, they'll probably still be playing after you finish this one.
Perfect.
Great.
Yeah, this one's going to go for a little while here, I think. Gregory Orange's deck doesn't really have a great way to close the door on a game. I mean, it can, like it does bolts and Snapcasters and stuff like that, but it takes a while to get to that point. And Gregory's not really going to want to tap out for things like activating his Celestial Colonnade until he really knows that he's got Taylor in a spot where he can't kill him out of nowhere with some Splinter Twin combo.
Yeah, Gregory Orange, the last time we saw him here in the feature match, he was facing off against a Tron deck. And in a matchup like that, he needs to play very aggressively with his Snapcaster Mages and with his Cryptic Commands, because if Tron ever comes together, all of that extra mana is just disastrous for this type of control deck. So we saw him play a very aggressive game plan. But against a deck like Tarmo Twin, he's going to want to sit back. He doesn't want to, give his opponent an opportunity to resolve spells that he doesn't have to let the opponent resolve. So we're going to see him play a slow and methodical game here. And Tarmogoyf resolves here for Taylor.
Wow.
So this is interesting. Now, letting a Tarmogoyf resolve in the Tarmo Twin matchup is particularly bad because you're going to need to interact with that Tarmogoyf.
You have to.
And because you need to interact with that Tarmogoyf, that means you're going to need to tap mana. And when you tap mana, when your opponent doesn't have mana tapped, it gives them a great opportunity to combo you out and beat you. Looks like we have an update from Randy over here.
Yeah, this one's for you, Jake. Jung Park and his Scapeshift deck. Victorious, 2-0. Takes out Daniel Ward and John, so Jung Park will be playing for top 8 next round. Another player who will be playing for top 8 next round is Matt McCullough. He won the pod mirror against Bing Han.
Thanks, Randy. Meanwhile, Tarmogoyf doing what Tarmogoyf does. Turning sideways.
Taking chunks out of Gregory's life total here.
Very large ones.
Let's see.
So what is Greg's plan to deal with this Goyf? Does he just have a path or something? Maybe he just has nothing right now?
Yeah, I mean, eventually he'll just try to find a path, but...
Right now he's going to Sphinx his Revelation for 2.
Yeah, Taylor, all variety of options here in hand.
I mean, all of them are good, too. Remand on this just means he basically time walks Gregory, which is a term we used to mean made him do nothing for his whole turn.
And Remand is nice, too, here, because it gives him an opportunity to draw a card like Deceiver Exarch or Pestermite if he doesn't already have one in hand. And then he actually gains more action and is able to use the rest of his lands efficiently here.
Okay, and he did remand it. Has to turn back.
Now, the one major issue with using Remand there on Sphinx Revelation is that the next time that Sphinx Revelation is attempted to be cast, it's going to be bigger.
Mm-hmm.
And so on and so forth. But we know that Taylor has more counter magic, so.
Yeah, here it is. Sphinx's Revelation now for 3 instead of 2 like last turn. But that Tarmogoyf is doing work. It's got Gregory Orange down to 10. And this is going to be Snapcaster Mage.
Let's see what the Snapcaster Mage decides to do here. Is it going to be another Remand?
It is. Crack a Scalding Tarn. Maybe draw something sweet.
Yeah, we know that Taylor has a negate in hand, so.
And remand it right back to your hand. I mean, this obviously benefits Taylor here, right? I mean, if he just keeps time walking Gregory Orange with remands, Greg, it really starts to put the heat on Greg to find an answer to that Tarmogoyf.
And let's see, does Greg have something that he can use to stave off this pressure here? It looks like he did find that Path to Exile.
Okay, he just drew that. He's going to Lightning Bolt Snapcaster Mage. No problem, says Taylor. Throw that right in the bin. And there's Path to Exile. Now, is this going to get negated here?
I imagine so, because now, like, even if Taylor lets that happen, Greg already played his land for the turn. I mean, at most, he can just cycle his Sphinx's Revelation, draw 1 card, and gain 1, which isn't ideal. So, if I'm Taylor, I just negate this.
Tarmogoyf, a threat worth protecting, trademark. And Spell Snare is going to take care of negate, though. So Tarmogoyf down. And the pressure has indeed been relieved. And since Taylor Lane is all tapped out, Greg doesn't have to worry about getting comboed off immediately here. So nice little sequence there.
Well, he can still get comboed off here.
He can?
Yeah. I mean, a Deceiver Exarch could untap a land, or Pestermite could untap a land, and then he can cast Kiki Jiki and just combo
Oh,
off.
because Kiki Jiki. Does he have Kiki Jiki?
I'm not assuming
Or is he twinning?
Oh, you're right. He has no copies of Kiki Jiki.
All right.
Yeah, so
So then he can't go off.
You're right.
Because of so many signals. But Kiki-Jiki does get a run. All right, so here's Serum Visions, draw a card, dig, dig, dig. He has a little bit of an opening here with only 3 lands for Gregory Orange. Randy, what's going on at the top tables?
Good news for Brian Braun Duin fans out there.
BBD.
BBD wins the Pod Mirror over Jeremy Barbeau. Got his Malira killed by an Abrupt Decay. Next turn, just got the Eternal Witness, stitched the combo back together again. So he will be playing for top 8 in the next round. One other result I have is Adam Tellis, 2-1 over Alex Olson. So that is your last Storm player being eliminated. Adam Tellis on blue-white-red control. Bad news for him is he's at the bottom of the tiebreakers. So if an X and 2 misses, might be him.
Okay.
We'll have to see how next round plays out.
Good to know. All right, back on our main match here. Pestermite just got electrolyzed. So that little piece of the combo is not going to stick together. And Greg Orange, he's got another Sphinx's Revelation in his hand. If he gets to resolve one of these, it could be pretty backbreaking from Taylor's side, who seems to have a lot of lands on the battlefield.
Hitting land traps normally very important in these control matchups, but in this matchup, as Taylor, you really kind of just want critical mass. That Tarmogoyf plan is really important, and him resolving that Tarmogoyf and then still not getting a window to actually combo his opponent is pretty rough for him.
Okay.
At this point, it's not looking good.
Here's a colonnade for Gregory Orange. End step, I'm assuming, we have a Pestermite once again from Taylor. This is something that Gregory can afford to fight over here. It is, and it's Counterflux. The ultimate fight breaker. Did he tap 4 mana for that?
He did? Overloaded it.
Okay. Does that do anything there?
Nope.
It's just 1 spell on the stack, right? So now he's down to 3 mana. He can't have Cryptic Command up or anything. I don't know if it matters, but I guess it doesn't. He's got 2 cards in hand, a land and a Sphinx's Revelation. And Taylor is going to need to find a way to either interact with that Sphinx's Revelation or get a win on the table, because if Gregory Orange gets to fire off that Rev, this game is not going to last very much longer. Well, it'll probably last for quite a while, but it'll be in Gregory's hands. I think he drew a Lightning Bolt for the turn, so a little bit of extra insurance here. He's still going to stay going. Let Taylor have a draw step here, though. No, he's not. Upkeep. Fire it off for the full amount, and Counterflux always wins the counter fight. That would have been for 5 there. Taylor goes to his draw step, and it's Thrun the Last Troll here.
Ooh, wow, and that is a card that breaks this matchup wide open.
No kidding. He happened to play it when his opponent was tapped out, but that's the kind of card you can just confidently jam anyway. This is why some people have Wrath of God floating around in their list, because you need to be able to deal with Thrun. In the meantime, Celestial Colonnade is going to jam in the air here, and that's going to knock Taylor Lane down to 6. If that was a Lightning Bolt from Gregory Orange, then he can just kill Taylor next turn, assuming Taylor doesn't have anything great. Oh, electrolyze target you. If that is a bolt, this is where you want to fire that off, right?
Yeah, I'd guess so.
He does fire a bolt at you. So that makes a lot of interesting things happen. A, the Colonnade's lethal, and B, any bolts or Snapcasters are potentially lethal as well for Gregory Orange now that that bolt has resolved. The lastest of trolls rumbles into the red zone. And Gregory, it looks like he's going to go for it here. He plays the only card he had in his hand, which is a mountain. He can't activate 2 Colonnades here, can he? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No, I can't. Close. Attack you. And that's it. Gregory Orange wins. He's going to improve to 13-1 and put himself into the virtual top 8 here.
Yeah, the Citrus Assassin.
The Citrus
and
Assassin.
Sean McLaren both find themselves.
Wow. This is going to be awesome,
pretty
top
good
8.
for
Yeah.
the top 8.
And we've got
Blue-White-Red strategies seem to be the breakout decks for this tournament. It looks like control decks in general.
won the
Been
Pro Tour.
performing very well.
Still got no respect. Everybody says, no, I'm birthing potting, but they're working. All right, so we've got a couple of other players. We've got Nathan Holiday versus Willie Adel sitting down in our feature match area. Now we're going to get the graphics up as soon as possible for you. We have to get the life totals and names and stuff punched in. Once we do, though, those will appear to you. Willie Adel, Jund specialist in Modern, and even not in Modern.
Yeah, now this is rough for Willie. He's clearly having mana issues here. This is a good matchup for Willie. Yesterday, Randy and I were going back and forth a little bit over,
You and Randy? No.
Yeah, he liked Milaripod, and I like Jund in this particular matchup. But I had an opportunity to sit down and talk to Brandon Nelson about it a little bit, and asked a few other people. And I think the current versions of Jund, because of cards like Anger of the Gods, are definitely favored in this particular matchup here.
Now, the only problem for Willie Adel is that you need lands to cast the good spells against your opponent, and right now, Nathan Holiday looks like he is in the driver's seat with Revelark on the battlefield already. Scavenging Ooze hits the battlefield. There is an active Birthing Pod and a Birds of Paradise. Yuck.
Yeah, and Revelark has always been a nightmare for a Jund strategy, so.
Just attrition you out.
Yeah, Jund is a deck that never liked fighting through those types of spells.
Now, I'm assuming that this is an elimination match.
Yes, both these players are at X2. Willie just picked up his second loss last round. Willie pretty well positioned to get Platinum again this year. Platinum player last year. South American Player of the Year. Got to compete at the World Championship.
And he can't find the mana here.
Find the land that he needs.
Too many spells left in his hand, and he has to concede to Nathan Holiday, who's going to be playing a win-and-in potential.